The brutally cold winter feels like ages ago, but we're just starting to see the impact that it may have had on Wisconsin crops. It devastated some fruits, others a little bit more resilient. And Pete Servakis joins us now with a look at sorting that out. Hi, Pete.
Resilient like us Midwesterners, right, Vince? Apple Holler in Sturtevant brings in the bulk of its business through, you guessed it, apples. But the owner also grows peaches, and this year his 2,500 peach trees produced no fruit.
These are the only peaches for sale at Apple Holler this year, but from out of state. Growing peaches in Wisconsin is always risky because of our winters, and January's polar vortex totally wiped out this year's crop.
We got minus 23, I think, and minus 26 on 2 consecutive days. And the rule of thumb with peaches is that minus 10 below, you lose 10%, and each degree below that, you'll lose another 10%.
Luckily for Dave Flannery, his apple trees are hardier. There are about 18,000 of them on this property, growing 30 types of apples. And while the polar vortex did damage some of them, Flannery said it's only about 10% of this year's crop.
There was a little damage to some of the apple trees, but not nearly to the extent that there was with the peaches.
And Flannery says the cold temperatures that lingered into spring actually protected his apples. They delayed the apple trees blooming by about 3 weeks into late May, when temperatures were no longer in danger of dipping below freezing.
It pushed us into safer weather territory.
You heard Dave mention losing 10% of the apple crop this year. For context, back in 2012, temperatures in May dropped into the 20s after the apple trees had already begun to bloom. That killed off about 85% of Apple Holler's crop that year. So when he talks about spring just delaying the bloom and a safer territory, that's why it was so crucial, because there wasn't really that risk of, frost coming in and wiping out the apples like what happened to the peaches.
All right, so not as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, definitely not. Well, you see the difference between the apple tree, right, common in the Midwest, and the peach tree, known in the South. Apples are still here and hardy this year as always, and the peaches obviously didn't make it.
Looking forward to those apples.